How are you?
How are you?
Fine, fine, thank you. I love the bike.
Thank you.
Glad I'm
It's my
good.
mini rally bike. It's my mini version.
You, you train with this now, with the lockdown.
I can't fit my big bike in the house, so this is just a mini version.
You are born as a pro enduro rider, one of the best in South Africa competing around the world. Until that day in Botswana when you got that massive accident that put you in coma for 11 days. I want to know who was
Yes.
Kirsten Landman before then, what happened, and who is Kirsten Landman today?
So, Kirsten Landman before my accident was probably a little bit arrogant. I thought I was invincible. I thought that I was unstoppable. I took life too seriously. I didn't have fun. I took my racing too seriously that it took the fun out of it. You know, when you work too hard and you forget to have fun. And I never spent any time with my friends because I was so focused on training, racing. I only ate good food. And then I had my accident, and which was in Botswana in 2013 in June. And so what happened in the accident is I was riding behind another rider trying to make a pass, and it was in a sandy, like a sandy double groove track because quads had raced on the day before. And it was about, we had started racing at 8 and it was 9:30 when I had my accident, so it was an hour and a half into the race. And I was in the right-hand lane and I tried to pass the rider, they were in the left-hand lane, so I was going to come in fast into a corner,
Yeah.
and last minute they jumped into my lane and I had to slam on brakes, and as I slammed front wheel tree stump to the right, about waist height, and I impacted it straight in my stomach, my lower abdomen. And at the time, no physical injury. Didn't look like anything was wrong with me, but I was in a lot of pain. Eventually, the ambulance medical crew got to me about an hour and a half later. They got to me at 11 o'clock. And it took them really long for me to get back to the pits. And then I was, because it's an African country and, you know, the hospitals aren't the greatest. By the time I got back to the hospital, I had to have CT scans, sonars, x-rays. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And then I eventually got evac out of Botswana back to South Africa. And then I only got operated on 36 hours later. What happened is I had severed my pancreas off my small intestine, and with that, all of your waste products that carries in your small intestine had leaked all over my abdomen, all over my organs. And in that 36-hour period, all my organs had gone separate. So I was dying from poison. The doctors cut me open and they cleaned me out. They left me open for a few days so they could keep cleaning out all the abscesses and all the problems within my abdomen. And I was put into an induced coma for 11 days, and I was on life support because I was on so much morphine it stopped my heart. And for me, I don't do much. I remember, I think up until I was in hospital and I was put asleep when they started operating on me, and then I woke up 11 days later. When I woke up from my accident, I was very confused. I didn't know what happened to me. Once I came to my senses, 2 weeks later after coming out of hospital, I had to build my strength again. And I went through a stage that I was very bitter, very angry. I was very cross. I was confused, and I was cross that this happened to me at such a young age, and why did this happen to me, you know? But then eventually I looked at it from a different angle. And I realized that I had been given a second chance at life. And not many people get those second chances at life. And if the person, I like that you asked me that question, because the person I was before my accident, I woke up out of from this accident and given a second chance of life. I swore to never be that person again. I swore to live each day like it's my last, because yes, like I said, I thought I was invincible. And we are not. Humans are so fragile. And you don't know when your time's up. And the thing is, if you live a life where you're not happy with who you are and what you're doing, it's a life not worth living. So I didn't want to do that again. And I wanted to do what I loved, and I wanted to have fun doing it. And I wanted to make time for my family and to make time for my friends, and I wanted to enjoy life. So I swore never to live that previous life before. And ever since then, like I say now to everyone, that accident was a blessing in disguise, because it changed my life. And I can tell you now, I certainly would not have achieved what I've done in the last 6, 7 years since my accident that I have if I hadn't had that accident. I don't even know what I probably would have given up riding because I wasn't enjoying it. I found the love in it again. I found the passion in it, and in that I've traveled the world. I've met the most amazing people, and I mean, I'm talking about it now, and I like, just smile because I love it so much. I mean, I've got the best job in the world.
After the recovery, you thought immediately to go back?
My mother said, as soon as I came back to my senses, I said to her, "How's my bike from the crash?" and then I said to her, "I'm going to get ready to ride the Roof of Africa in 2013," which was later, 5 months later. Obviously, I didn't do it, but it's what motivated me to get better and get stronger. My doctor said to me when I went to him for my last checkup, he said, "I don't know what it is, how you survived, because clinically you should have been dead." And he said, it makes me believe in miracles, that it's either your age, because you're so young and because I was so fit, or it's a miracle because, and that was maybe because of the strong will to fight. It wasn't my time. I wanted to come back and still do some more riding. And that was it. I worked hard and I trained hard to get back so that I could go racing. And then my international career kicked off the next year when I went to Romaniacs in 2014. And ever since then, it's just been race to race to race to race to.
On your road, or better, off-road, you find the legendary Joy Evans.
Invincible, Joey. Nothing can stop him. But you know what? He's got such a positive attitude with everything. And I'm so glad I had him in my corner because he helped me through so much. I mean, he taught me a road book. We did so many rides together. I spoke to him prior to Dakar, during Dakar, after Dakar. He's my mentor, and I'm so grateful to have had him in my corner because he's my hero. I met Joey for the first time in 2015. I just bumped into him at another guy. I don't know if you know Daryl Curtis. He's also a Dakar legend here from South Africa. And we just had a brief conversation when he was trying to get ready for the Dakar to find sponsors to go to Dakar. And then later he completed the Dakar in 2017. And then he got back from his Dakar, and I bumped into him at KTM South Africa when he was collecting his bike, which had arrived just back from Dakar. This was March 2017.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about his story. He was excited. He was telling me all about his experiences. And then he's like, I could just see this light bulb click in his head. And he's like, "Kirst, to my recollection, I don't think a female South African or African has ever done the Dakar on a motorbike thing. It's you." And I actually kind of laughed and I said, "Joey, no, I don't want to do the Dakar. I'm not interested in the Dakar. It's too fast. I love the Dakar. I've watched it for as long as I can remember, since I was a little girl. My father's watched it, so I am every year, January, I'm glued to the TV. But to race it, not my interest, because from my accident when I had in 2013, because Dakar's high speed, it's dangerous, and I swore never to go fast again since my accident. So I told Joey this, and I said, "Joey, you know I've had an accident and I don't like the high speed stuff." And he kind of giggled and he said, "Listen, I learned to walk again and I did the Dakar rally. You can do this." And I how do you argue with that? You can't argue with that.
No, exactly.
So that's when the seed was planted, and I did my research. I found out about, contacted FIM and seen that if there ever had been an African female that had done it on a motorbike or even attempted it, and they never had. And with my history, I like to be the first female to do a lot of things. And a part of that, the biggest thing was, I wanted to overcome my fear of high speed from my accidents. I wanted to, because I believe it's been holding me back quite a bit in my extreme races,
To move from the hard enduro to the cross-country races.
My first ever rally, I've only ever done 2 rallies in my life. So my first one was my qualifying rally for Dakar, which was the Muzuga. Yeah. And I loved that. I loved every second of it because the road books were really technical. They were really, really hard. And the distances, the average speeds that we were doing in the day weren't that high. So, when I did Muzuga, I kind of gave me a false impression of what Dakar would be like. I was like, okay, if this is what Dakar is going to be like after Muzuga, then I could see myself having a rally career. I'm very fortunate that I got to go to the Dakar and race it and tick that bucket list. But for me, I'm definitely a hard enduro rider, and that's my passion, and that's what I'm going to go back into.
When you were lined up in Dakar, did you think what it took to be there?
You know, everyone says when I got this idea to do Dakar, everyone said the hardest part of doing Dakar will be getting to Dakar, and they were right. You know, the preparation, the organization, finding the money, getting the sponsors. That certainly was the hardest part. You know, I was very lucky, but you know, when you're at the start line, I mean, if I think from being on that start line to finishing, it goes by so fast. You know, at the time it feels like it's so slow, and the days on the bike feel so long. But I wish I could have like slowed it more down, so I could have like taken it all in to try and enjoy it a bit more, you know. But it is a race, and it's a high-speed race, so everything goes by like if you were in those days. It's flying past you at 150 kilometers an hour. So I wish I could have just slowed it down and try to enjoy it a bit more. But as racing is, you got to go fast.
Women are multitasking, you know, and this is a fact. Was
Yes.
easy for you to ride, navigate, concentrate, look around, find the helicopter to do a wheelie?
I think you're getting confused between me and Lia's sons. She's amazing. You know, I changed my opinion on men and multitasking after the Dakar rally, because for those guys to be able to open track, if they don't have tracks in front of them, they're reading off a road book and they are going the craziest speeds. So that's all saying that men can't multitask. It's not true, they can, because those looks are so fast, and for them to be riding those tracks at the speeds that they're doing and opening the tracks, it's really impressive. I love the navigation. It's, for me, I feel like it was a safety net, because you know what's coming up in front of you, you know. So if you read in the road book and you are, and I was very, very methodical and made sure I was vigilant with my road book. You know what's coming up in front of you. So for me, that was like a safety net. I felt safer while racing. But at Dakar, there were so many open tracks, the tracks in front of us all the time, because I mean, I was always riding mid-pack. So there were bike tracks in front of me the whole way. I mean, there must have been, I think, about maybe 5 or 6 sections at the whole of Dakar that I really had to concentrate on a section, and those are the places where I made up time because I was watching my road book so long. So because of the sand and the nature of the terrain in Saudi Arabia, there was always tracks to follow. And I didn't find the navigation too tricky. I mean, I hit every single one of my waypoints. I didn't miss one. I didn't get one penalty. So, but that's also because I made sure I wanted to hit every waypoint and have a perfect rally.
The navigation was something new. You started doing the navigation from Merzouga, I think. So
I went, and I was lucky. In 2019, I went and spent a week and a half at the Villadoms rally station with Jordi Villadoms, and I got to do some training in Spain with him. And then also Joey's got a lot of road books that he's made around in where we live, and I did about 3 or 4 rides with him off road book, and then obviously that week in Spain, and then of course Merzouga. And what was nice is when I went to Jordi, they had just released the new road book rules with the colouring of the road book.
Yes.
The pre-color. So Jordi taught us from there to mark like the Dakar guys, the regulations that they're going to be. So with the right colours. So for me, forever going forward, that's how I mark my road book. So when I got my road books at Dakar, and I marked them at Dakar, it was the same, you know. So I luckily wasn't in that situation where like these guys that had done 10 Dakars had marked their road book their own way, and now they had to learn a new way to mark their road book, whereas I didn't know any difference. I just marked the way they had marked. So it worked out well. I did find that I'm quite attentive to my road book, and I made sure that I marked it really well. So at the nights that we did have to mark our road books, it took me quite a while, but to know that I marked it well gave me a lot of peace of mind. And I did quite like the fact that they were giving us our road books the morning of the race. That means we could get more sleep. And they marked them really well. So I could feel like we could trust that the whole system. So I really enjoyed it. I love the marking of the road book because, like I say, you get an idea of what's ahead of you for the next day. So it's cool. I love the whole navigation thing.
Is it true that well-marked road book make you faster?
It didn't make me faster. I suppose that for me, I'm not opening the track. So for the top guys, I'm sure for them, they have to be so attentive. I can understand it. If you're opening tracks, a well-marked road book is critical.
How did you cope with the stress, the fatigue, the even the temperature? I think because you went from in the night from nearly zero to massive heat during the day.
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me was so during my Dakar, what I battled with most was firstly the cold. It was really cold. I don't think many of us were equipped for that cold, especially those morning liaisons, riding on the bike, doing all those distances in that freezing cold weather. And I'm South African. We're not used to cold weather. I mean, I've never seen snow in my life. So to be riding in freezing temperatures, it wasn't pleasant. And then the other biggest thing was, mentally, trying to not get caught up in the fact that you're in a race and push your limits, because you do that and that's when you crash. So the whole time I was, you ride within your comfort zone or bordering out of your comfort zone, but you've got to realize you've got to slow down, because at the end of the day, I was just there to finish. I'm not there to win. I'm not there to try and beat a liar. I'm not there to do anything else but just finish the race safely. And that was my goal from the beginning. And that's why I wanted to do the Dakar, just to finish. And when you're caught up in that, when guys are coming flying past you and, you want to race them and you don't want the cars to catch you, so you want to go faster, or you don't want someone to catch you and then you're in the dust. So the whole time, I was battling with that. And then, of course, when you see the accidents and you see the injured riders and then you hear of deaths, that for me, mentally, it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
After how many
Yeah, it is.
days you thought, you know what, it's too much, or you never thought that?
For me, when I realized, like, what am I doing here and why am I doing that, was Pablo passed away. That for when he passed away, Paolo, sorry, not Pablo, Paolo passed away.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I here? Again, reason being because of my accident. Then, we had to carry on, and then I've kind of got into a good rhythm. And then on stage 11, Edwin passed away, and I drove past the accident site. And when you ride past someone that's been resuscitated, again, it just messes with your head. But that was on stage 11, and then just knowing that I have one more day to go to get to the finish line, it was a huge relief. But that's when you see the accidents, and for me, every time I saw a helicopter in the distance, you know that most likely it's either a camera crew or it's a medic picking up an injured person. So every time I saw that, my heart would drop into my stomach, and I would like get this nausea feeling, and as I'm getting there, I'm praying, saying, please, I hope that ride is okay. I hope that ride is okay. So for me, it was very emotional seeing all the accidents, and because there was just so many accidents.
How was the situation between male rider and female rider? Did the male see the female as a threat?
The camaraderie at Dakar was incredible. The guys were so supportive. I think it's because I've never experienced camaraderie like that in a race in my life. People all here for a goal, and we want to finish. But like for me, riding mid-pack, we were like survival. We were there to try and enjoy it and enjoy this once-in-a-lifetime experience. I mean, most of the guys that go to Dakar spend their whole lives saving to be able to do this race, or working to be able to do this race, and this is like one of those, it's a dream to be at Dakar. It is. That's why they say live it and dream it, that's the motto. And we all felt that there. And so whenever you stop, someone stops and are you okay, are you good, and there's all thumbs up and smiles. And then when we're at our fuel stops, everyone's so friendly and so helpful. And yes, when they see you take your helmet off and they see your girl, and I remember I rode with a lot of the guys from China, and they were such nice guys. And when I first took my helmet off and they saw that I was a girl, and they were like, big eyes, and like, whoa, you ride really well for a girl. I am a female, but I see myself as an equal, and that's how I was treated, and I appreciate that.
Kirsten, which terrain you don't like at all?
I don't like anything that's fast and flat. I don't like, which was pretty much the whole Dakar, fast and flat. I just get, so if it's dusty, so if there's dust and poor visibility and flat, and where you can go fast, that if I can see, I'll go fast. But if I can't see and it's dangerous with lurkers and that sort of thing, I don't enjoy that.
You don't have so much time to interact with other riders.
No, it's amazing. It's like you go there and you have blinkers on. You know, with horses, they have blinkers on so they can only see straight ahead like a racing horse. You know, there is no time to chat. There's no time. I mean, because literally you have your place in the pits. You know where the food court is and you know where the toilets are. And that's as far as you go.
If you have to get to that same page, how much is mental and how much is physical, the Dakar?
I would have said this Dakar was 70% mental and 30% physical for me. I don't know. I asked Laia and I spoke to a lot of the guys and I was like, is this a really fast Dakar? Are they normally this fast? Or is this what Dakar's like? And a lot of them said, no, this is one of the fastest Dakars they've ever done.
Kirsten, thank you to be with us.
Okay, well, thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it. Keep well. Stay safe.
You too.
Thanks, Alberto.